Hi, Gail.
Hello, hi everyone, and welcome to Design School's first live stream for Open House 2022. My name is Gail, and I'm the course chair for the Digital Film and Television Diploma. Can all of you hear me? All right, okay, I'm just going to try and share my slides now. Just give me a second. Okay, so today we're going to spend a little bit of time, maybe about 40 to 45 minutes, okay, where I will give you a brief overview of what the course is about, what you will learn when you are in the course, what actually we do. And after my session is over, I will be having a chit chat with some of my students because what better way for us to learn what the course is really about from the students who are actually in it. Okay, so we have 3 students who are actually right about halfway through their diploma right now. So I think they would have a good feel of what DFT is, and they can. We've asked them to be honest about it and be truthful about how they found the course so far, what they do. Okay, so let's get started. I will just give you a quick overview of what's going to be happening should you decide to join this course. All right. Okay, so in this diploma, okay, which we've had since about 2014. Before 2014, it was named another name. We actually offer a broad overview of what film and television industry. We teach you the skill sets and basic foundational skill sets of what the film and television industry will require. And we focus very much on strong visual content and good storytelling. So pre-production would actually make up a bulk of what we do. We spend a lot of time on pre-production. We don't allow students to go out on production until they have signed off or we have confirmed, okay, that their pre-production is good to go and they will be not overspending on budgets before they go out on production. All right. So in a nutshell, if you come into DFT in 2022, you will be actually one of the first batches to be doing something called Common Foundation. This is a new curriculum which will kick in April 2022. You will find that many of the polytechnics and many of the schools also within TP have this common foundation thread. Now, the reason for this is that we want to increase students' interdisciplinary learning, meaning that instead of learning too much specializations and too in-depth into certain topics, you will actually get a very broad overview of many different areas in the design and media industry. And as you know, media and design are inexplicably always interlinked. Okay? And you would find that many of the concepts, theories, they crisscross over each other. So in the first 6 months, you and your classmates will be working on something called Common Foundation Semester, okay, where we will teach you things like UI, UX, you will learn photography, you will learn mobile videography, and you will learn about the foundations of design. Next, you will learn something called TP fundamentals, and this is something that all TP students have to take. All right, so it's across whether you go to School of Business, School of Engineering, everyone has to take the TP fundamentals, and these are just broad, soft skill type subjects where you will learn about entrepreneurship, leadership, and you will get to use makerspace. You will get to build stuff. You will also have things like career guidance. All right. So those are the subjects that are not media related. Now, when you hit semester 1.2, that's when your media subjects come into play. So you will learn all the foundational topics like camera and lighting and location sound, which will be under basic video production. You will learn creative storytelling. We will teach you how to tell a story for the visual medium. So it's very different from how you tell a story in a composition for your O levels. We teach you to tell a story that actually can reach the masses, can have commercial marketable value, and can travel. Okay, so it's not just creating films and stories for your mother or your father or your boyfriend or girlfriend. It's creating stories that can be marketable, can be sold, and can earn you a good livelihood. Because at the end of the day, I think if you ask us what we are about, it's we want you to have the skill sets to get a job once you graduate. That's very, very important to us. All right. So we will also do pitching, and you will learn a bit of directing. And at the end of year one, you will do something called a short film project, all right, where you work with teammates. So in the film and television industry, teamwork is extremely important. You, if you love working with people, if you love collaborating with people, solving problems together as a team, I think this is a course for you, all right? So lots of projects where you will work as a team. Now in year two, you will go into a lot more in-depth subjects, media type subjects. You will learn a lot more writing. So you will learn screenplays, and you will also learn writing for non-fiction, which is more documentary and factual script writing. You will also get a chance to use the TV studio. We have a very nice production TV studio, which has world-class facilities. And I think that's something that students always look forward to when they have to do live productions with inside the studio. And then in the second part of year two, you will specialize in two different directions, all right? One is the directing and producing track, where you will learn about writing, you will learn about directing, and also about marketing and distribution as well, because once a film is completed, what happens to it? Okay, so we'll teach you how to get your film to distributors and how to sell it. There's also the technical track, where you will learn about more advanced editing, cinematography, and audio post. So we have facilities for all of this. So when you come to your second year, middle of second year, that's kind of the time where you will decide which track you would like to go for. Something new as well that will be for the intake that's coming in 2022, we'll be offering 3 electives, all right? So students get a chance to choose from this range of subjects: design for screen, which is something that is offered by another course, and then game design is offered by another school. And we also have our own subject called broadcast design, which is a little bit more After Effects related. So we'll teach you how to do motion graphics and After Effects in this course, all right? Now, when it comes to your final year, it looks like you have very little to do, but actually that's probably the time when you're the busiest. Okay, you will work on something called the Industry Film Project, where we will invite clients to listen to your story ideas. And if your story idea gels or fits the agenda of your client or the organization, they will actually pay you to produce content for them. All right. So this industry project, we work a lot with clients. And why do we do this? It's because we feel that for you to have a portfolio at the end of the day when you graduate, it is good for you to be able to say you've worked with certain people, not that you've just worked with your group of friends to produce content for your group of friends. It's being able to say, I've worked for a certain organization, I've learned how to understand a brief, I learned how to solve problems and align with what the client wants. And I think when you have a portfolio like that, it's very, very powerful in getting employment, all right, which is at the end of the day what we're looking out for you guys. We also have something called student internship. So I think I will be touching on the student internship program a little bit later, but essentially you will spend 4 months away from us, okay, and you will be working with a whole bunch of organizations, and you will hone your craft and learn new skills from there and apply the skills that you've learned in school as well, all right? And then after 16 weeks, you come back and do your major project. Some of it may be sponsored. Okay? I will show you some examples later of what is sponsored for a major project. And you all will be actually working together to produce a film, all right? That I think we have done very well in this aspect, and I think it's something that the students put their heart and soul in, and something that they're really proud of at the end of the day. So in a nutshell, this is what your life will be like with us in TP. You will learn all the common foundational and TP fundamental subjects, mainly in year 1. And then you will specialize in year 2 in the media subjects. And in year 3, you will have more classes, internship, and then major project. Okay. All right. So how do we function? How do we work? Okay. I think one of the questions we always get from students is, how are we tested? Are there exams? Okay. So you'll be glad to know that there are no exams. But I think the students can testify that that doesn't mean your life will be easy here, because you have a lot of projects and assignments and deadlines to hand in. So in essence, we mirror the working world outside. When you go outside, you don't sit for exams. You hand in projects, you hand in assignments, and we try and mirror that sort of lifestyle so that when you graduate, you are able to hit the ground running. All right. In terms of format, you will have a series of lectures, which are in bigger groups, sometimes tutorials, consultations, and workshops where you have more hands-on uh, experience. Now, another interesting question that we always get is, if we work in groups, right, how can we be sure that the grade that we're getting is fair? Because everyone will not be performing at the same level. And you're right. So when we do grading for our films, a good film always requires a whole team to work on it, right? So you will usually have about 5 to 8 people working on a team, but we grade each of you differently. We grade each of you on an individual and specific role. We also get you guys to grade each other on what we call peer assessment. And if you do not put in the same amount of weight as everyone else in the team, your grades will suffer and you will not be able to get the same grade as someone who puts in 200%, right? So the system that we have is quite foolproof, meaning that we still grade you individually quite a lot. Okay, there's a huge significant chunk where you're graded individually, but the group components, you will get the same grade. Okay, so not to worry, we have a system where that's worked out. All right, so now I want to talk about a little bit more of the colorful stuff and what we do. So if you ask us what differentiates us from the rest of the other polys, I would say one of the things that we have taken pride in is we love to tie up with clients. We love to tie up with clients to produce content which you can use in your portfolio. So at the end of 3 years, you will be able to say, I've worked for client A, client B, client C. And here are some examples that I would like to show you. So from 2017, actually even before that, we've been working with clients, but from 2017, I've just put this in. We've worked with people like the Agency for Integrated Care, where our students produce content for issues about elderly, for issues about people with dementia. Okay, and when their videos are produced, they actually go viral on the internet. So we've had one of these videos which was actually featured in the newspapers, and the students actually get cash as well for the work that they've done. That's Minister Gan Kim Yong over there presenting it to them. So there's a lot of mileage for a student video that is produced. And mind you, these students that produce, these are all year one students, all right? So it just shows that, you know, even at year one, they have the ability to produce content that can travel on social media and can go viral as long as it tells a really good story. Now, this is from CINI 65. We quite often take part in this competition because it is something that I think we believe in. It tells a story of how we can tell stories about Singapore without it being in a very hard sell or propaganda way. So the storytelling behind CINI 65, I think it's more heartfelt, more emotional. It showcases the loyalty, resilience of the country and things like that. And so we're quite proud that it's held biannually. So in the last 2 runs, we have been able to do quite well in this, and we won the inter-school challenge. All right, so we usually have taken the best film for the past 2 runs. All right, this is 2019, where we worked with Lee Kuan Yew Fund for Bilingualism. They came to us and said that they needed to create videos that made people aware about the lack of, you know, speaking bilingually. So our students came up with content, you know, about their own life stories, how they struggled with bilingualism, and they produced about 10 pieces of work for them. Now, what's great about this relationship is that not only do we produce content for people that you can put in your portfolio, but these clients actually pay students money to produce it. So during your run here, you may find that production is actually very expensive. It is true, film production is very expensive. So when you get a client coming in to say, I will sponsor you $12,000 to produce something like this, it helps the students with their financial burdens, okay? Because I know not a lot of students have the ability to spend a lot on production costs. So it defrays the cost and it helps. It's a win-win situation for the student at the end of the day because they get to have a portfolio where there's client engagement and they get their films funded as well. Okay, so this is for year 2. We actually work with Honor Singapore. Now, Honor Singapore is quite a noble organization set up by Mr. Lim Xiong Guan. And at SG50, he wanted to come up with a whole initiative where we had, he wanted videos where we would celebrate the invisible Singaporean, right? So when our students in year 2 do something called a documentary project, they will produce content for Honor Singapore. And these films were actually screened at Capitol Theatre. That's our principal there. And I think it's a really good exposure to invite your family and friends to be able to come down and watch your films and be able to say that I got my film screened at Capitol Theatre. All right, so those are some others. We also get our content on MediaCorp. MediaCorp does work with us for final year projects and they pay us for producing content for Toggle, which is now Me Watch. Okay, so our students also get coverage for that. And I think the most long-running partnership we've ever had was with an organization called Singapore Discovery Centre. You may have in your secondary school journey been bused to Singapore Discovery Centre by your secondary school to actually watch films, go for the exhibitions there. So our DFT students produce content for the theatre, all right? And the content that we produce usually ties in with things like national education, which in turn does inspire a lot of coverage, okay, about student filmmakers who produce work about Singapore, tell Singapore stories, all right? So that's our Deputy Prime Minister. Yeah, and he is actually highlighting the films that he's watched at Singapore Discovery Centre. So you actually really get a lot of coverage. If you have this sort of things in your portfolio, I think it's a very, very good start for you, because you have so many people acknowledging your work and seeing your work even before you find a job, all right? Now, besides working with clients, we also submit our films to many, many competitions, both locally and internationally. So we have won at many of these awards. Just recently, we won the Proba Awards for the 5th consecutive year. So later you'll see some of our students wearing those shirts as well. We also submit for New York festivals. So in 2019, I think we were the only institution under the student film category to sweep bronze, silver, and gold. All right, so this is something that I think is worth shouting about because a Singapore institution can get recognized on the world stage. What else? We also have our films on Singapore Airlines. So we work with SQ to get our content there. So they have a section or category on Singapore films. And usually it's during the month of August, they like to play films by our students. And we've also had our film screen at Cannes on Lifetime Cable channels and at the Golden Harvest Awards. All right. So in a nutshell, I think that's what we do. Now, I've come to the part where it's probably the most, the questions that we get asked about the most. What can I do after I graduate? Where do I intern at? And what if I want to further my studies? Okay, so I'll start off with the most practical one, which is what can you guys do once you graduate? All right, so while we train you all for the film and television industry, we have seen the landscape changing so much that right now you are finding more and more of our students and alumni moving into the social media and digital marketing landscape. And a lot of online content creation jobs are there as well. So it's not just limited to TV and film. All right. There are so many aspects in terms of advertising, design, social media, online content creation that you can go into. And these are just different platforms. At the end of the day, we are all about producing good content. So regardless of which platform the content goes on, we will still give you the skills to create that content. All right. So I think it is a booming industry, and there's a very, very bright future, especially when a lot of things have gone digital and gone online. There is a lot of demand for content. All right. Traditionally, if you all are thinking of more specific, specialized roles, there are directors, producers, cinematographers, script and screenwriters, sound men, video editors, and production designers. So these are some of the job scopes that you can branch out into. If you look at our IMDA framework, there are actually over 100 job roles that students can go into this media industry. So a lot of avenues for creativity sense. All right. Okay, so where can you go to intern at year 3? So for 4 months, okay, these are just a very small number that I put on this page. We actually have a happy problem because we have more internship companies than we have students. So students have a choice to choose where they want to go. Usually it's skill specific. So if a company is looking for editor or post-production person, then the person or the student will who's interested in editing will usually go to that place. Okay, so it's also based on what that company is looking for that time. So you can see that we have traditional companies, traditional media organizations, but you also have the more smaller production houses, and you also have the social media ones that are coming up. Okay, they are very, very they're very popular online now. All right. So we also have tie-ups with them. So you can pick and choose if you prefer a traditional big size organization or you prefer a startup. All right. Now, what about furthering your education? Okay. We also have tie-ups with many universities. If you're looking to go overseas, we have tie-ups with universities in Australia and in England. Where you can actually get exemptions. Okay, so I'll give you an example. One of the tie-ups that we have is with the University of West England. And if you have a very good portfolio and a good CGPA, you can actually move straight into their final year. So you end up only doing 1 year overseas to get a degree. So if you think about it, that's actually really, really worthwhile because you do 3 years of diploma, you do 1 year degree, and you get a diploma and a degree in 4 years. All right. So many of our students do that. I even had students who, after they've done their 1 year in UK, they stay 1 more year to do their masters. All right. So you in 5 years, in total 5 years, you get your masters. I think that's a really, really good deal. For our local university, okay, can you hear me? Okay, okay. So, give me a second. Do I need to repeat the part or it's okay? Yeah? Okay, it is the last 1 minute. All right. So, yeah, so in terms of university, I'll just show this one more time because I think I'm not sharing. Okay, never mind. Anyway, I'm actually at the end already. So if you all are interested to come into the course, there are entry requirements which you can actually find on the website, and it is your grade should be 1 to 6 for English, 1 to 7 for mathematics, and 2 other subjects excluding CCA. That's for your L1 R4. And then for our planned intake for 2022, we are expecting to take in about 70 students, 70. Right. So I think that hopefully gives you an overview of what DFT is about. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer any of them. But before that, I would like to introduce actually some people who've been very patiently waiting with me, and they are my students. All right. So we have Ming En. Okay, Ming En.
Hi.
And we
Hello.
have Basan.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so all three of you, thanks for being here. It's a very multiracial ethnic group that I got today. Let's start off by asking. I'll let ladies go first. So Ming En, can you? I'll start off with the easy question. Why DFT? Why did you want to come here?
I think for me personally, I always had like an interest in movies and TVs in general. So I feel like in this, like especially COVID or like before COVID actually, I always grew up watching movies that I like. So I always wondered like, behind the scenes what happens. And then after I like learned more online or like through like other friends or something, I just really wanted to like pursue this in this industry in a way. And I just wanted to like join something like this. So basically in secondary school, I think Sec 4, I wanted to go JC at first. But then because of this newfound interest, I decided to like go poly, especially this course, and learn about this and pursue it further. And after I joined this course, it wasn't like a bad decision. I think it was like a pretty good decision. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Okay, so I'll move on to Ishaful next. You had your reasons for coming into TP, and since you've been here for about a year and a half already, can you tell us, versus your expectations of what it was, what you thought it would be, and what it really is like, right? What has it been like? Maybe you can let everyone know.
I think for me, it's generally like, because no one expected COVID to hit, but I think that when I entered the course and then I learned about the different modules, and then they like I get to learn like a very broad spectrum, because when I was looking into the course before I joined DFT, I was like curious as to, okay, am I really going to be able to learn about like camera and sound, especially now during COVID? Will I even get to like know how to use it? Because like a lot of it was HPL, but then over time when the restrictions got more lax, then we were able to play around with the equipment, and then like we actually get to learn more. So I think expectations was definitely like that it would be like expectations got sidetracked because of COVID, but I think past that, I think that DFT definitely like met my expectations, because I did get to learn more about like the camera, the sound, editing, even directing, and other aspects such as producing. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much. Yes, okay, so now I'll move on to Vasan. Vasan, you had a very interesting year one project where I spoke about CINI 65, and you were one of those students who participated in it, and your film actually did travel quite a bit. So maybe you can tell us about that experience.
Okay, so for the CINI 65 experience was really a very interesting experience, because being a year one, I actually thought that we wouldn't have much chances to explore what we learned throughout the module. And when my story got chosen for CINI 65 in project pitching, I was actually quite excited, because I wanted to explore the role of a director by telling my story. It's a story that usually many neighborhood kids would have grown up with. It's about a lost bicycle and everything. So while we were filming that, we had a lot of challenges, and we still overcame it to produce this film, which was nominated for CINI 65 across 6 categories. We were nominated for all 6 categories, and we won Best Editing for CINI 65. And I would say, despite being a year one, we had all the opportunities that we would be given, like, how to say, all the opportunities were very equal opportunity for everyone. Everyone who took every role, right? They had all the chance to explore everything they would want to explore in that role. Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened to your film after that? What was the audience reaction, and was there media interest as well?
Yeah. So when we after we had won our best editing for Sin 65, we were actually interviewed by a few by the newspaper and Vasantham as well. So while we were interviewed for Vasantham, me, myself, and my actor, we were both interviewed on how the experience we had during the shoot of the story, and they were really interested in the story because it was something that it's a very local story and something that it's something to do with kids, not something that was like usually done with COVID or anything. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so now back to Ming En. I'm interested to know what challenges you all had. I mean, COVID, of course, made things difficult. What challenges you all had and how you overcame them as a team, and how you felt after the experience, because you've not just gone through one project, you've gone through a couple now. And how has that built you up as a person?
Okay, so I mean, obviously, in like every team project, whether it's film or not, there's gonna be like a lot of challenges lah. So I think one of the most common ones that I feel like everyone has faced before is like team members not really, like not vibing, or like they're not on the same level as you. Like you don't think the same way they do. So sometimes there's this miscommunication or there's this some disagreement. And it's very common because film is very subjective. Like some people could like Korean dramas, and then some people could like Marvel movies. It's like a very different genre altogether. So you have to expect this kind of like this like I guess like disagreement, but then you also cannot like tackle it in such an aggressive way, because then you'll just make the whole thing very difficult. So I guess maybe one of the challenges that I faced in like a lot of my productions was that we couldn't see eye to eye with each other in certain areas. So maybe like the director of photography couldn't see eye to eye with the director. And then some other teammates will also be affected because we are a team, so like everyone is like in the film. So when this kind of thing happens, it kind of makes things a lot worse. But then I feel like if we actually manage to pull through and like actually try to communicate with each other, I think eventually the reward will be like great. Like it's not like there are challenges, but at the end it just gets better. It doesn't get worse if you don't make it worse. Like so like try to, I guess in what I think is a good way to tackle this kind of situation is communication and try to be empathetic of each other. I guess in year one when I first started out, it was quite bad because we don't really know how to like talk to each other just yet. But once you get to know your teammates, your course mates, and like build this relationship with them, I think it gets easier along the way. And yeah, I guess that's really it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, because I think that's one life skill that's actually really, really important. Working with people and communicating with people is something that everyone has to do when they graduate and start a job, correct? So learning how to handle difficult people, learning how to handle difficult situations, having a plan B, when things fall apart and when shoots fall apart, which I'm sure they do. And then I know you guys went through so many COVID restrictions. I know that, how you all maneuvered all the restrictions from 5 to 2, 5 to, cast not being able to wear masks, and, or having to wear masks while they're shooting. I know you guys handled it so well. And I think you all came out stronger after those sort of experiences, because when you go out internship and when you go out and work next time, you would have all this experience to be able to share, right? To say, this is how we did it last time, this is how I worked with this difficult person last time, and this is how we made it work. So I think the satisfaction a lot from making films is actually working as a team and solving problems and having this common goal that at the end of the day, you all agree to disagree, but the end product and the task must be the main focus, and then you all will feel very proud of it at the end. Yeah. So maybe Ishraful, do you have any thoughts on that? And how has your experience in DMC shaped what you want to be when you graduate?
So for my experience for my first short film project, I worked with people that I never really talked to for like the whole year one, even though they were my classmates. But so it was tough to communicate with them. There were a lot of miscom, as what Ming En said. And then over time, as we move on to the second short film project, I think I found my footing and I was able to communicate my ideas better with the teammates. So it was a better experience for me overall, and I feel like I improved there. And ultimately, like DFT, after learning what I have in DFT, it ultimately does like motivate me to want to continue to stay in this industry in the future. Yeah, because like I've always been passionate about film ever since I was young. So DFT has has not doubt that interest. Yeah, it has made it even better, higher. Yeah.
All right. What about for you, Vasan?
Even it has made it even better,
I
higher.
think
Yeah.
I totally agree with what both Mingan and Ishaful said because, well, we were new to the course. We do not really know how to work with each other. But then, when there are some certain issues and problems that you will face during your production, be it for SFP1 or be it for SFP2, but once when you tackle those problems together as a group, as a film crew, right, you find your place within the team. You will feel more comfortable. You bond with all these events that happen throughout the production. So this will make you guys be even more ready to venture into the industry and work with anyone that you come across. You have to work with on any project that you have to in the future. And I think it has really affected me a lot because I think I would want to pursue into the industry on what I have been doing so far. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Before I ask my final question to all of you, I'm just looking through the chat actually right now, and I think I don't know who they think is cute. I think it's Ming En. But okay, I'll answer the questions that I can answer. We don't do animation, okay? Because there are a lot of subjects and topics to cover just within the film production realm, just to do pre-production, production, and post. So putting animation in would even further dilute what you all learn. So there are courses out there that just solely do animation, and there are courses that do film production, and we are the ones where we just focus on film production, because if we actually did a long time ago, maybe about 10 years ago, it was a combination of animation and film production, but the students were just learning a little bit of two very big, type of arenas. So I think it's better that students just focus on it. But with the new subject coming in, where we're talking about broadcast design, students will learn a little bit of 2D, 3D motion graphics. Okay, so there's a little bit of animation. You can choose that as your elective, all right? And you can do that. What are the chances of getting a job in direct in Singapore compared to other countries? I think if you are really, really serious about directing, I think it's very important if you speak to all the local directors here. They all had their start from very humble beginnings. Okay, I think they need to understand the process, and many of the directors that I've spoken to actually want to learn camera work, want to learn editing. They want to learn every aspect of the production process so it can make them a better director. They do not expect to just graduate and become a CEO and director immediately. So I think if you are serious about being a good director, it's very important to learn about all the other roles and what the other students, not students, but all the other art industry people do to make that film production, and that will make you a good director. And once you are a good director, the offers come fast and furious. Okay, so I do know of a director, a very veteran director, who gets called to China and India. He's a local Singaporean, but he gets called to China and India just to shoot advertisements. And they're really, really big budget advertisements. Of course, this was pre-COVID. Now that it's COVID, he's more based here. But you must make a name for yourself. You must do your time, understand the industry, understand how things work, and that will be. I don't see you having problems getting jobs as a director in Singapore or other countries if you are good if you make a name for yourself, if people see that you have a visual eye for things, then I think that's you already have half the battle won. All right. How filmmaking, how dark and gory are students work? How dark and gory are students able to do that? Okay. I know that students when they come in, the first thing they want to do is, oh, I do politics. I want to make R-rated content, very sensational, very scandalous type of stuff. But at the end of the day, we focus on storytelling. We focus on good storytelling. It's not just to shock and awe your audience, with visuals. I mean, anyone can do that. I personally don't think it takes a lot of skill to shock and awe people. All right. But good storytelling that is subtle and it can bring out emotions of people in a very subtle way. I think that's what we're looking for. Now, at the end of the day, we are still part of the Singapore institution and Institute of Higher Learning. So we do have to abide by certain sort of rules, okay, and censorship rules under IMDA as well. So we follow it, okay, but we do give some leeway, okay, into what we can and can't screen. And our films, our FYP films actually do go for ratings. So we have some films which are M18, which means that when you have your graduation show, only people above 18 are allowed to watch it. So we will check IC and things like that. All right. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. We don't do a lot of it, but I mean, if it calls for certain things and it's warranted, to show these things, then if it needs to be part of that storytelling process, then sure. So we have had M18 films before, just that the amount, the audience numbers are very limited because not many people can then watch your film. Okay. So I've answered the animation one. Okay. Okay, will we be learning film history and film analysis? We used to have a subject called film genre, but right now we're actually collapsing that into certain other subjects as well. So it will be a mismatch, especially when you come to things like Common Foundation. We will have to give you an overview about the design and media industry, the foundations of where it came from. So yes, you will be learning a little bit of it. Okay. Vasan's hella fine to make a big film. Must I go to Hollywood or is it possible? Okay, I think that there has been more and more support for our film industry. So you will find that IMDA, Singapore government's also supporting it. You will see a big blockbuster film like Crazy Rich Asians, was recently, pre-COVID, was recently filmed here. There was another one with I can't remember the name. Is it Equals? I think they were also filming here. So I think that the Singapore government's opening up our market quite a bit. All right. I don't know what you mean by big blockbuster, but the budgets have been increasing. It's just if you want and you want to do an internship overseas as well to get your foot into Hollywood, I think that's also doable. Okay, but you have to understand that there are also thousands and thousands of people from all over the world who have the same aspirations as you. So my advice is you may want to just start local and look at Asia, because Asia has huge job opportunities. China, India, even Thailand has a really, really big and expanding. If you watch Thai commercials, you will know how many commercials they produce every year, every day. Okay, if you can get your foot into that market, it's very, very lucrative. All right. If you're more interested in editing and camera, do we still write nonfiction? So that's why I say yes, correct. So if you're interested in editing and camera and the technical aspects of things, you move yourself into the technical track. Then you don't have to do writing. Okay, you don't have to do much writing for nonfiction. If you are very interested in directing, producing, and writing, you go into the directing, producing track. So I think those two help us divide, okay, the students. There are those that are very, very interested in the technical aspects, those that are very interested in the writing and producing, directing aspects. So we hope that these two tracks help you in your decision-making process. Is internship compulsory? Yes, it's compulsory. If you do not complete your internship and you do not pass your internship, then you don't graduate. Okay, so I think it's a very good learning experience. sometimes you can learn and learn and learn in the classroom, but nothing beats going out into the real environment and actually experiencing life there. All right. Yes, it's possible to do a film about the sick, a horror film about the sick. You come in first and we will discuss it. All right. So I hope to see you all here. But I'd like to just end off my final questions to the panelists. If you had one piece of advice to give these students who are going to get their O-level results, you were in this position sometime a couple of years ago, a bit blur, maybe not sure what to do, not sure where to go. What sort of advice would you give them now, knowing what you know now?
I think personally, because I entered through like EAE, so it was from my film like editing experience, but I think when you're collecting your results and you are still unsure of what to do, right? I don't know. When you enter CP, there's this common foundation thing, right? But before that, okay, it's a very difficult question. Don't know why you asked me. Okay, let me think. I guess, yeah, I want to go first.
I think before you enter this course, you have to think because you have to be open-minded to what you are learning here. Because a lot of people from what I know, like from my cohort mates, they come here and then they're like, oh, I want to do camera, but like why am I learning about directing? Or I want to do editing, why am I learning about producing? But I think like when you come in and you get to learn about each and every aspect, you kind of have a more deeper like appreciation and just an overall sense of like each of the roles play a very important part into making a final product. So yeah, I think my advice would just be to enter with an open mind. Yeah.
Good advice. All right, Basan?
I would say just find out whatever you're passionate about, because like what Ishrafil said, you need to be open-minded while learning about film, because if you're going to be coming into the course thinking you're going to only be learning about film, you're just going to take the camera and just go shoot videos and you're going to produce it. I think the course is not about that. It actually gives you a look into every single aspect when it comes to filmmaking. So if you're really passionate about filmmaking and you want to know every aspect, want to appreciate the whole process of filmmaking, I think this course is the best for you. And if you're really passionate about film, you should come and try to join our course. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Ming-En, you have the last say.
Okay, I will try my best to answer this. Okay, I think advice is, I guess, get ready to have a lot of group projects. Like I said just now, there's gonna be communication or projects that you really have to talk to each other. So maybe before, like even if you're very new to the concept of filmmaking or media in general, the basic thing that you need to know would be like try your best to like communicate with each other, or try your best to find your footing in this course, like your friends or like your classmates who can make you feel comfortable where you are, because that's just the most important thing. If you're like really uncomfortable in like a whole group of people in a film, it gets really hard for you to like do anything really. So just try your best. I think that's my best advice. Yes.
All right, thank you. That's really good advice from all three of you. I'd like to thank you all for being with me today and being so honest and candid with your views. I hope that all those listening out there will seriously consider our course and come and be part of DFT, because we're really fun people. We're really nice people as well. So you'll have a lot of fun when you come here. Okay, so have a good afternoon and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, CY is IFC.
Hi, Gil. Please end the meeting for all on the right-hand side.